Hello friends, I have finally finished editing my Yoshi Cookies video. I have made all 6. If you want to see a history of Yoshi Cookies, I did a video called Yoshi Cookies and Games from 1992 to 2019. I will be looking at sprites and references in games to try to find the best real-life match for the cookies. I'd like to thank Geoshi the Red for bouncing off some ideas with some of the sprites. If you have a different idea of how the sprites should be interpreted and want to do your own video, please link your video in the comment section so I can see it. Perhaps I should make it into a Yoshi cookie challenge? Anyhow, let's start. For the diamond cookies, I chose chewy sugar cookies. This is because I don't like regular sugar cookies. They are hard and seem like more of a canvas than something to eat. The diamond cookie sprites appear to have predominantly green candied cherries, but there are red cherries as well. There wasn't any red cherries at the stores I visited. Methinks someone who believes fruitcake to be yucky is trying to stop people making fruitcake by not stocking them, but that's just my theory. A conspiracy theory. Tinfoil hats to whoever that person is because I couldn't find any red ones, and I made all the cookies around Christmas and didn't want to do any online shopping so close to Christmas, so here we are. We will begin by whisking 2 1/4 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda in a medium bowl and set aside. Now for the wet mixture. In a large bowl, combine 1 1/2 cups of sugar and 2 ounces of cream cheese cut into pieces. Pour 6 tablespoons of melted butter, warm, not hot, over the sugar mixture as well as 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. Whisk until incorporated, clumps of the cream cheese will smooth out later. Add the 1 large egg, 1 tablespoon of whole milk, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla and continue to whisk until smooth. Mix the dry and wet mixture until soft, homogeneous dough forms. Flatten the dough. I don't have a diamond cookie cutter, so I will just hand make it. Here I have green candied cherries and green peanut M&M. Green cherries taste like wax and sugar and have a nasty aftertaste, so I recommend using green peanut M&Ms. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and cook for about 12 minutes. This completes the diamond cookie. This is what happens if you don't flatten the cookie enough. Oops. I mean, it still tastes good. For the checkerboard cookies, I decided on checkerboard icebox cookies. Starting with the vanilla dough, put 16 tablespoons of butter, 3/4 cup of granulated sugar, and a 1/2 cup of confectionery sugar in a mixing bowl, and set it on high speed until light and fluffy. Beat in 2 eggs and 2 teaspoons of vanilla until combined. Slowly add 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour on low speed and mix until combined. That is good for the vanilla recipe. Next, you will make the chocolate, in which you will remake the vanilla icebox cookie recipe. However, 1. You will add melted and cooled chocolate to the dough when adding the figs and vanilla, and 2. You will substitute a 1/4 flour for a 1/4 cocoa powder. The recipe says to melt 2 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate in a double boiler. I don't have a double boiler. Put the chocolate in a Pyrex glass and put that in a pot of water to melt the chocolate. Pyrex makes a glass that changes sizes less than regular glass, and low thermal expansion borosilicate glass, making it ideal for cooking. I used a pan gripper to take it out. Don't set hot glass on cold surfaces in case the glass can't flex fast enough and causes the glass to crack. Don't forget to substitute a 1/4 cup of flour for the 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. Time to shape the dough. Divide into 2 balls of equal size. Then put them into logs that look like Tootsie Rolls. Measure 6-inch log and 1.5-inch thick square sheet. You're supposed to wrap these in parchment paper, but all I have was plastic wrap, so... Anyhow, wrap them and put them in the fridge to make it easier to handle in about an hour. I set it on a flat surface so it doesn't warp with the fridge. Do this for the vanilla dough as well. Time to put them together. After unwrapping the chilled dough, it's time to cut it more straight. I just so happen to have a long knife to make the edge nice. Do this on all 6 sides. on each of the dough. Now it's time for the fun part. We get to stack them. If the dough proves to be too soft to handle, then put it in the fridge for about 30 minutes. Cut square cookie dough into 1/4 inch thickness and space them apart. My other cube of dough I squished too much together. This one I let there be a gap because it's gonna flatten when it cuts. If it gets messed up, it's okay, just cut out the middle. I dub thee delicious. All fixed. There is use for the extra cookie dough. Flatten out both doughs, then place them on top of each other. Roll the dough, and cut them. And there you have it. You have finished making your checkerboard icebox cookies. Preheat the oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit and bake until the edges begin to brown, about 12 to 15 minutes. Cool cookies on a sheet for 3 minutes before transferring it to a wire rack. My first thought is the dots are crystalline sugar, which are used in butter cookies, sprites, and shortbread cookies, etc. In other sprites, they seem to resemble poppy seeds. And then with Yoshi magazine, they just put holes in the cookie. I took some artistic license and decided to make snickerdoodles and have the dots be cinnamon. In an electric mixer, beat 1/2 cup of butter on medium to high speed for 30 seconds. Add 1 cup of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and beat until combined, scraping the bowl continuously. Beat an egg and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Beat in 1½ cups of all-purpose flour. Cover and chill for 1 hour. In a shallow plate or bowl, combine 2 tablespoons of sugar and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon to coat the cookies with. Flatten the dough. I use a 3-inch circle cutout and a 1-inch to get the shape. Coat the cookie in sugar cinnamon mixture. Preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for 10 minutes. After it is baked, I recut it with cookie cutters for a more crisp edge. This completes the circle cookie. I chose grandmother's jelly cookies for both the heart and flour cookies. Looking at the references, both the flour and heart cookie have mainly red jelly in the center. The flour will alternatively have what appears to be orange marmalade. Originally I was going to make the flour into a thumbprint or even a spritz cookie, but it appears flatter than either of them. For the heart, only in the Yoshi no Cookie Kurrupon Oven de cookie game shows having 2 cookies stacked on each other. Otherwise it's a single cookie with jam on top. I decided on having 2 cookies to make it easier for the jam to stay in the center. In a large mixing bowl, combine 1 cup of butter and 3/4 cup of granulated sugar and beat on medium until fluffy. Add egg, beat well, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Beat in 3 cups of flour. Divide dough in half and flatten the dough to 1/8 inch thickness. After using a cookie cutter, you will brush egg white and sprinkle sugar on top before baking. Preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 7 to 9 minutes. Take your desired jelly or jam and place it in the center. Put on the top cookie. Done! Yoshi's Cookie for the Game Boy had a promotional video released in Japan that looks more like a cookie cult summoning their cookie overlord. The Yoshi head cookies have eyes and cheeks, a lighter color than the rest. It looks to me like 2 different cookie doughs, although with the With Yoshi magazine, it looks like it has frosting. Some depictions have the head one color, like this ad for the Game Boy in Yoshi's Woolly World. All Yoshi heads are flat, so the recipe I chose was brown sugar cookies. To make brown sugar cookies, you will need 14 tablespoons of butter, 2 cups of brown sugar packed, 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, 2 cups of unbleached all-purpose flour plus 2 tablespoons, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 large egg, 1 large egg yolk, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. We will begin by melting 10 tablespoons of butter in a 10-inch skillet over medium-high heat for about 2 minutes. Continue to cook, swirling the pan constantly until butter is dark golden brown and has a nutty aroma, which should take about 3 minutes. Remove skillet from heat and transfer brown butter to a large heat-proof bowl. Stir remaining 4 tablespoons of butter into hot butter to melt. Set aside for 15 minutes. Whisk 2 cups of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder together in a medium bowl. Set flour mixture aside. Add 1 3/4 cup of brown sugar to bowl with cold butter. Mix until no sugar lumps remain. Scrape the sides of the bowl with a rubber spatula. Add egg, yolk, and vanilla, and mix until fully incorporated. Add flour mixture and mix until combined. For the sugar topping, mix 1/4 cup of granulated sugar and 1/4 cup packed brown sugar in a shallow baking dish or pie plate, rubbing between fingers until combined. To make 2 different colored doughs, I simply separated the dough into 2 separate containers and added cocoa powder to one of them until the color was where I wanted it. I handmade the Yoshi head with 2 doughs. Perhaps you will want to purchase a cookie cutter to make the process easier. Make sure the dough is flattened and don't overbake. Sprinkle some of the sugar topping on top of the cookies. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for 2 to 14 minutes. To avoid overbaking, bake 1 sheet at a time until cookies are brown and still puffy, and the edges have been set, but the centers are still soft. The cookies will look raw between the cracks and seem undone. For the pupils, you can put black icing, although this cookie did not make the quality control, and so Yoshi ate it. Thank you for such a fun year. It has been fun to be able to share my love for Nintendo and art, and I appreciate that people like what they see. I love Nintendo. It encapsulates this essence of childhood imagination when the mind was perhaps the most free, and will always have a strong nostalgia because of this. All I really want to do on my channel is mess around and connect with my fellow nerd, but I also try to make things interesting. So far I've met some really cool people. Anyhow, that's all I really wanted to say. Thank you for enjoying what I make. It's cool that we share a common love. It makes the world a better place, you know? Creativity to me is the light in this world that lets us see the beauty in the world and not just the shadows. Here's to another year of having fun. Thank you for watching.